we're back and ready for part 2. Now let's go.
All right. Then we're gonna get our capo, our handy capo, put that on that 6 spread, and get this beautiful sound here.
We're going in. It is kind of creepy because I can hear the bees. I don't know if you guys can hear that. I don't know if the audio picks up the buzzing. So basically you gotta get through all the rough patches before you get here. Beautiful. Let's go. This looks trippy. Okay, so this is the hardest, probably the hard part. I don't even know if these are poisonous. I can feel the itchiness on my legs. It's just a good thing. Oh, jeez. All right. Here we go. Oh. These are not very good shoes to hike with. Oh yeah. Something for sure is gonna give me a rash. That shit hurts. Son of a witch. We're almost there. So I almost got attacked by a bee. Fuck me, right? And I'm out of breath. And there he is. There it is again. Oh my god, I gotta go. We made it halfway, I gotta go. There's so many bees here. Is that even funny? Not a good idea. Okay, I wanna go.
I think all of us should have a hobby of some kind. They like to play, get them a good instrument and play. You don't have to try to make a living out of it, just play.
We made it. Yeah. Out of breath. No more breathing, less talking. Another great view. I literally just jumped a swarm of bees. That was scary. But I faced my fear and I didn't get stung. Moral of the story. There's butterflies everywhere too. Last time when I filmed, I knew you guys saw a couple of butterflies. They looked like moths, but on the other video there were actually a swarm of butterflies. I was pretty amazed as to how many butterflies there were. Alright you guys, take 2. I filmed it already, but guess what? The audio was gone, but I double checked it before I left, so which is good. Like I said, I could get to cut through all the baloney and just get to the nitty gritty. Alright, so let's get this video started. Part 2, mental wealth, check in. Where did I leave off of? I left off where it was like me talking about my anxiety and depression. And one thing that I did forget to mention was with the depression, it really increased because when I would do my Spanish speaking videos, I was really judged by my own community, and it was really sad and disheartening to see how how harsh they were in the comment section and judging my way of speaking Spanish, and that really made me sad. Like, you don't even know, like, I remember reading the comment and reading it over and over and over, and I had to like literally delete the email, delete the comment, because I did leave one comment when the first comment that I got, and I was like, oh well, thank you for your feedback, you know, I was kind of being nice back, and it didn't work out for me. What ended up happening is more hate comments started coming through, commenting the same type of vulgar use of bad words, and I realized, you know what, they're looking at their comment and they're kind of modeling their comments, so I'm not gonna do that. So what I decided to do is I just remove them and I delete them completely. I don't care if it hurts my analytics. I don't want to see that, and I don't want other people to see that and think that that's okay, because it's not okay to talk that way. It's just ain't. So that was kind of depressing, and it was also very depressing when I started seeing like my own family and friends like not be supportive when I first started, or even just throughout the journey. Like, some people were supportive in the beginning and then they kind of fell off the wagon and they're like, screw this girl. Or some people were not supportive and then eventually they became more supportive. And then there's people that have been supportive since the beginning and are still supportive, and I appreciate you guys so much. Like, you guys don't even know. And it's been tough, I'm not gonna lie. Mentally it's been hard, because, you know, it kind of showed a few people's colors. You know how you say like you see people's true colors, but I understand in a sense of like, I get it, because in our Latin culture we're not used to doing what I'm doing, you know, or trying to do what I'm doing. It's hard for them to really understand, because, you know, they didn't go through what I've gone through in a sense of schooling and then being exposed to the field and seeing the same patterns that I keep seeing in my Latin culture. So of course, yeah, they're not gonna understand, because they're not seeing what I'm seeing every single day. With my clients, just changing and just certain barriers that I encounter. So yeah, that was really, really depressing. And the anxiety of just making sure that I'm on top of things and making sure that I'm like following the algorithm, that also increased my anxiety, because you're like anxious, like, oh, am I gonna finish, I gotta post. And I understand why a lot of people struggle with anxiety in a sense of like when they do YouTube for a really long time. I understand that. It makes sense as to why, because it's like you're like wanting to meet deadlines, and if you're very, very obsessive compulsive, like in a sense of like you're very tidy and you have to meet certain specific deadlines, I can imagine how anxious that would make someone feel. So and that's happened quite a few times for me too, but it just helps me be more aware of it so I can push through it. Now, the other topic that I'm looking at my paper is comparing, judging, stealing info, competition, and collaborating. Then comparing and judging was super, super difficult for me, because like what I mentioned to you guys in the beginning of the other video, with the whole rewired soul situation, I reached out to him via comment, like on his not very few, because he was already doing that for about a year, so he had quite a few videos, and I commented something in regards to I was trying to collaborate, and then I also commented something in the lines of me being scared that someone's gonna steal my info, that don't work in the field and try to box it and try to, you know, not give me credit. And I also talked about the depression of expression in that specific comment, and I was kind of being a little petty when I think about it, and I know that's why I went back and I deleted it. I deleted my comment because that comment stayed, and then he uploaded, and then he said, oh, I see you guys' comments, I'll reach out to you guys when I have time. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. Like, I felt like, oh, maybe he read my comment, whatever. And then after a few videos after that, he ends up shouting out depression to expression. So I was like, oh my god, like, I guess like I must have like kind of talked baloney about a creator or a person he's already might have a relationship with, in a sense of like, oh, maybe he felt like I was talking shit about his friend. Like, that's what I thought. I was like, oh fuck, oh well. Like, so I went back and I deleted the comment because I felt like really embarrassed and silly. And I was like, okay, well then I guess you guys are wanting to collaborate but don't want to collaborate with me. Like I felt like an outsider. And then that, like, I felt judged, right? Like, I was like, so either they're judging me because I'm a woman. I was assuming, right? Theorizing, speculating. I was like, is it because I'm a girl? Is it because they think I'm a threat? Like, do you think I'm competition? And I was like, I'm not trying to compete. Like, why can't we work all together? Like, you know, I just want credit. Like, I want you guys to give me credit. Like, let's collaborate. And if you guys are gonna take some of my info, like, or some information that I'm obtaining in the field about kids, like, I want to get credit, you know? So whatever, I kind of left it alone, right? And I still became super paranoid though about people stealing my information. But I still felt like the reward soul was legit at that time and moment, even though I thought that was a little bit petty. I was like, okay. So the stealing info was put in my head from the beginning, because when I spoke to my teacher and I was going to transfer over to YouTube, he did tell me a story about 2 creators where they shared a channel, and one of them locked them out of the accounts, and they stole the account and they weren't allowed to go in it. And he just kind of explained as to how a lot of people are super, super hungry about those like subscribers and views and things like that, and that other people will steal your information so they can do what they need to do, because they have the manpower, because they have the resources, or they have the time, and that was my fear, because I know I didn't have the time. I work a 40-hour job, and in my mind I was like, I don't want to quit, because I am obtaining so much great information that I'm learning in the field. Why would I quit? Like, I could transfer information that I'm learning in the field into the YouTube channel, but I have to work with what I got and maybe reach out to someone who does have the time, and we can do something great together. That was my plan in my head, and it just didn't work out for me. And I was so paranoid that I literally was watching the Rewired Soul to make sure he wasn't stealing my stuff. And then it got to a point where once he started talking about Katie Moran, and I realized, like, this guy doesn't know what he's talking about, really. Like, I get what he's saying, but you could just tell he didn't know what he was talking about. Like, you haven't been in the field long enough to really know, or and then when the Bobby Burns thing happened, I didn't even know about this guy. Like, I was like, why is he talking about this guy this way? Like, if you're in the mental health field, you don't talk that way at all. You shouldn't be talking that way. It doesn't help people if you're trying to help, So that threw me off. And then I stopped watching. I couldn't watch anymore. I was like, why? Like, I don't think this man is what he's saying he is. Because he's lacking a lot of experience, even though he's claiming he has the experience. Like, his actions and his mannerism and how he's saying it lacks a lot of experience. So there was like I say, there's a lot of comparing, and I felt like I was being judged. A lot of it could be in my head. That's what happens, you guys, when you're in YouTube. There's no really communication sometimes. There's a lot of passive aggressive things, and people steal people's information. The perfect example is the Aces family, right? When the Aces family stole that guy's bananas, right? His things. Did you guys hear about that story? So it's like I was paranoid. It's a business model. People do that, okay? Even when I talked to my cousin the other day about my website and all that stuff, and he was like, no, you should do a website and actually like try to somewhat sell your product that you do know, or at least like the information that you have, so that because you worked hard for it and you've learned this, like you wouldn't want someone else to take it and try to do that, and kind of like similar to what the Rewired Soul did, and I'm not claiming he did that with my information, but I'm gonna explain that more in another video. But yeah, it was very difficult, you guys. I think that's it. With the collaborating was hard after that, and that was my fault, because I got really discouraged and my self-esteem was low, and I should have worked towards that and try to reach out to more people, and not just let the one incident with the Rewired Soul stop me from reaching out to other creators. But that's something that I had to work towards, because I was really insecure, and I just felt like I just didn't want people to think that like I wanted to collaborate with them to like use them, because in a way it's like, in a way you're kind of using them, but it's like marketing, or you're networking, and you're asking, or you're telling them and email them an idea where you guys can kind of combine together and we can work towards something like as a team, versus me thinking I'm just gonna use your name and I'm just gonna spread my opinions and that's it. I didn't want to do that. But I think I'm ready now. Baby steps. Now I'm gonna jump into the other thing where I wrote race trends, ensuring that you stay genuine and you don't fall for the views. Race, when I wrote that, I meant by like the race, like you're racing for the trends, right? Like it's like you always have to be the first one to do that one video of the specific topic or specific situation, and it's tough, okay? And then sometimes you want to talk about certain topics, and then there's a lot to mental health that you can kind of talk with anything, really, but you have to be mindful of like not offending people, but you're still gonna offend people. Like I kind of came into terms that I just have to put a disclaimer and remind people like we can agree to disagree, and we all have different experiences, and this one's mine, and this is what I've learned in the field. Maybe so that people won't get offended when I talk about certain topics, because I've been very wary about talking about certain topics because I know that it's sensitive to certain people. So maybe if I put a disclaimer, people won't get so offended. But regardless, people are gonna get offended if they really disagree. So, and I can't change that, and I understand if people disagree. So, but that's been hard. I'm not gonna lie, it's been hard because you think that you should talk about this but not, and then you see other people following trends or like doing the hate bandwagon thing, and it's just kind of like, oh no, you know, like look at it in the bigger picture. Because I try to look in the bigger picture with the whole rewired soul thing, and I kept trying. I try to look the good in people all the time. I'm telling you, I was just like, no, it's like, no, you know, I'm trying to always think like good of people, but then at the back of my mind I know that people are shady, and that's just the reality of it. Now, self-esteem. I'm going to talk about my self-esteem and how it increased and decreased. My self-esteem really increased on the way I looked at myself, because at first I was super judgmental towards myself in a sense of like how I looked. I didn't like the way I looked, and seeing myself in video I realized I was like, okay, I'm not that bad looking, like I'm okay, you know, I'm not that bad. And that was kind of like a blessing in disguise. Like I really was like, okay, I feel more confident about like my looks, and I shouldn't feel insecure about how I look and how my body is. So that was a super big plus for me. Another the self-esteem decrease for me, it eventually shifted to like my editing skills. My self-esteem with my editing skills was really low, and I was super judgmental towards myself and my skills. So that was hard, but I pulled through, and the important part is that I was really self-aware about it, and that I was being really hard on myself when I shouldn't, because I'm learning, and granted, I've never taken any digital classes or software classes. I'm literally self-taught in the editing world type situation, so I can't be hard on myself. I'm doing good. Like I'm so happy that I'm graduating myself. Like I went from iMovie to Final Cut Pro, and then I think I'm ready for the next one, the Pro Tools. I think it's called Pro Tools, PR, the PR one. I know people say it's complicated, but like I'm ready because I want more features and things. Like I like to do all that stuff. Like I see things and I'm like, I want to know how to do that. How do you do those transitions? So that's been like I said, a blessing in disguise. Like yes, I'm hard on my self-esteem in other areas, but I'm learning, right? I'm learning that it's gonna take time for me to appreciate my skills and increase my self-esteem in that area and not be so hard on myself. And then lastly, we're gonna talk about marketing and networking. It kind of falls along the lines of like what I already talked about in the beginning about collaborating, because networking, it's kind of like collaborating in a sense. You know, you're networking with people, you're spreading out your tentacles so that you guys can reach more people and build an audience as to what you're trying to present to them or provide, you know, in a sense. So it's been hard. It's been really tough because like I said, like with my self-esteem, it's something that I've always struggled with. So just having the confidence of saying like, girl, like if they decline you, it's okay. You keep on trying, and you go on to the next person and on to the next person, and eventually someone has to say yes. And I have to remember and remind myself the times where it took me 3 times to pass my cosmetology license. You know, it was hard to pass that test, and not the written test. The actual hands-on test was hard for me to pass. And so I think about that, like, okay, Araceli, it took you that many times for you to pass that test, but you didn't give up. So don't give up. Keep on doing what you need to do. And that's what I'm saying about the corniness, right? It may sound corny, but don't give up, you guys. If you have a passion and you really feel in tune as to what you're trying to do, don't give up, okay? That's what's been keeping me going till this day. Is like I have my moments where I cry and I'm like, I don't want to do this anymore. This is hard. Nobody's watching. And, you know, I keep reminding myself, like, I got to remind myself why I'm doing this. It's because, you know, I have a passion in the sense of, like, really educating and helping people not feel embarrassed off of getting services or help or having a diagnosis or learning new skills or even learning new things that you can do now that prevents you from even having it. Get therapy, preventative stuff, you know. If you're passionate about it, do it. Don't give up. Don't let the naysayers, haters, don't, all right? And yes, you're going to have those bump in the roads like I did. But don't let it disable you the way it disabled me. It really disabled me for a year. It did. And then the whole drama, I got so sucked into it because I wanted to get validated. Like, because I, like, in my gut, something was telling me, like, this man, he keeps changing his story. Like, I don't get it. Because I I'm a behavior specialist, so I observe things a lot. Like, I'm always like observing people's things, and I think also too because of like I've been taken advantage of, that like I have this ghetto mentality that like some people might try to take advantage of you because I've been taken advantage of before. So I don't know where I was going with that, but it's been hard, like I said, with the barriers and the bumps in the roads. But don't let it put you and get you stuck in a rut. You know, move forward and keep on pushing and do what you want to do, whether it's going back to school, whether it's pursuing something in entertainment, whether it's doing something with music, whether it's doing whatever makes you happy. And if it doesn't, all right, I had to like stop because somebody was coming and I didn't want to film while they were walking by, but I'm gonna wrap this video up, you guys. I really appreciate each and every one of you guys that's still been following me with this journey, and I appreciate you guys for watching still, and I hope that you guys continue to follow this journey with me until we actually start to make some impacts. And I kind of just think about the positive side, that even though I did have a bad experience in the YouTube world, I had a really good experience in the Instagram world, where I got to really connect with really wonderful women who are trying to do the exact same thing that I'm trying to do, you know, and with higher credentials, like, you know, MFTs, social workers that are really trying to tackle the stigmatism within the Latin community, and just communities in general that are ashamed to just receiving services, mental health services, or just asking for help or learning new skills, like I mentioned, just to kind of better their lives. So I'm going to link their websites down below so you guys can check them out if you're Latina, or maybe you guys can share that information. If you guys are looking for a therapist that is of your culture or Latina, that those two websites are really good with helping you find the best therapist that will fit your needs. Okay, so I'm gonna let you guys go. Thank you guys for watching. If you guys are new to my channel, please do not forget to subscribe, and don't forget to turn on the notification bell so you guys know when I put my next video. Okay, and don't forget to poke the like button if you guys liked it. Okay, please, it helps out a lot. If you guys dislike it, just say it out loud. We can agree to disagree. Okay, and if you guys are new to my channel, okay, I try to really incorporate mental health, like how I mentioned, because I'm trying to break stigmatism within any community. And with me sharing my experience and sharing my experience in the field, sharing my past experience, sharing the experience that I'm learning, or that I learned at school, and sharing the experience that I'm learning now in the field, that's the whole purpose of my channel. On top of me sharing my life, and like I'm saying, like, I want to model for you guys as much as I can to the best of my abilities. Okay, I will talk to you guys later, and hope you guys have a good day wherever you're at, like Manny says. Okay, see you later. Bye.
I think all of us should have a hobby of some kind. They like to play, get them a good instrument and play. You don't have to try to make a living out of it, just play it.